All right. So let's just do a little bit of review on simplifying first. So this is a continuation from last semester's work in algebra. Simplifying algebra is when you have some like terms, so things that look alike, and then you add them together, like adding apples to apples and oranges to oranges. So an example of that would be if I have 6x plus 2y minus 3x plus 5y. If I have an example, I want to simplify these algebraic expression into its simplest form, I can combine some of these terms, but not all of them. Because when I'm adding and subtracting in algebra, I can only add and subtract like with like. So imagine the x's are apples and the y's are oranges. So if I have 6 apples and take away 3 apples, how many apples would I have? Well, it would be 3 in total, wouldn't it? So 6x, take away 3 x's, I have 3 in total. And then I've 2 y's and I have another adding 5 y's here. So we have to take into account the sign in front of the term. So 2y plus 5 y's, 2 oranges plus 5 oranges would be 7 oranges. So that's a simple example of simplifying from last term. Now the reason I do that is because in the more difficult examples of what I'm going to do today, we need to apply some simplification to get a final answer. It's a bit like simplifying fractions at the end if you're doing a fractions question. All right. So let's look at our first example question. So you should be taking notes on that, and that's pretty much taking down everything that I have on this page, unless I say otherwise. So that this is the answer to a simplification question. We don't know what x and y are still. We've no equal sign there, so we can't get any more than that. We've just simplified it, and that's it. We need more information to solve it. All right. So, example question. So when we see brackets in algebra, can anyone tell me what brackets, type in the chat, means in algebra when we see brackets in algebra? So if we have something like 4, do that sum first. Yes, so you can do what's inside the brackets first. But let's say we have something like this, 4 times x. So if I cannot add this, what does the 4 do to these two terms? Yeah, I'm reading the chat here, and a lot of people are saying do it first. Yes. So if brackets, it says the terms do that first. Okay, so I could, well, x plus 2 are not like terms. They cannot be added together. So now what do I do with this 4 outside of the brackets? What's the operation with the 4? It makes 4 xx 4 times. Yes, it's 4. It's multiplication. Multiplication. So this 4 applies to both these. It's 4 times x plus 2. It's 4 times the x and 4 times the 2. 4 times the x multiplying and 4 times the 2 multiplying. It multiplies by both. It applies to both of them. That's why it's outside the brackets. So the answer to this, if I want to expand this using the distributive rule, which says the distributive rule is quite simple. It just distributes the 4 over the x and the 2. Distributes the number outside over both or all terms inside the brackets. So to expand this then, expand the brackets, I just do that multiplication. 4 times x is 4x, 4 x's. And 4 times 2 is 8, and they're both plus, so it's plus 8, like that. And so the brackets have been expanded, they're gone, by multiplication using the distributive rule. So that is the distributive rule. It's not more complicated than that. It's just multiplying all terms in the brackets. Okay, so that's our first example. This is the answer. Can't go any further than that again because there's no more information. How do I know it works? Now, this next thing you do not have to take down. but I'll show you. So if I have 4 times 3 plus 2, a similar example to this one up here, except for we know what x is. I'm going to do this twice to show that the distributive rule works. Now, if I use brackets the way I normally would, and the way Lewis and Charlie were saying at the start, and you do this first, 3 plus 2 first. Order of operations, BEDMAS or BEMDAS, whatever you use. 3 plus 2 is 5. We know that. So that's going to be 4 bracket 5. Now remember, we prefer brackets in algebra than the multiplication sign because the multiplication sign looks like an X. If you look at Charlie's comment in the chat, when he says it makes 4xx, is that 4 times x? Is that 4xx? Is that 4x squared? So that's why we start to get confused. So we don't use x's. So it's 4 times 5, and that, of course, is 20. Yeah, we know it's 20. You all got there. Yeah, Charlie, I know. But that's the problem. It starts to get confusing, so we use brackets. All right, so that's 20. What happens if we use the distributive rule way and multiply by 4 first? Does it break all our rules? No, this is okay. 4 times 3 first is 12. 4 times 2 second is 8. I want to add those two together. 12 plus 8 afterwards. So distribute first, multiply first, and then add. So 12 plus 8 is 20. We get the same answer. So it does work. So I've kind of proved the distributive rule. And we can only use this one if we can't add the terms. So we can't add these because they're not alike. We cannot simplify first. This one we could simplify. This we can't. And that's why we need this rule. Okay, so you don't need to take that down, this bit down. That's okay. Yeah, good, you. Hopefully it's making sense to most people. Let's do another couple of examples, and then it'll hopefully make a lot more sense. So I'm going to do the first question was like a green level question. So if you're new to this class, when you do get a homework task or a worksheet, you get a choice between green, yellow, and blue. Green is the mastering the basics, making sure you know the basic skills. Yellow is applying those basic skills, so a little bit harder. And then blue is the tricky kind of challenging questions. All right, so let's look at what a blue question would look like. 3x times 2 plus 3 times or, now we got or in the mix, minus or bracket x minus 2. Okay, so if you think you got the hang of it and you think you can do this, I want you to type your answer in the chat if you can do it faster than me. If you just want to watch my example, that's fine. Now, if you do type your answer in the chat, make sure you fully simplified it. Okay, or you can just watch me because I'm going to start it now. Okay, so the question would ask to expand and simplify this. And they call it an expression. An algebraic expression is when there's no equal sign in it, because an algebraic equation has an equal sign in it. It's like equal to 5, equal to 0, and we'll move on to those later in this unit. An expression is just when you can't find an answer for these variables, so x and or are variables, letters that have number value, but we don't know what they are yet. Okay, so this is an expression. So let's do the question. I'm waiting for someone to type an answer in the chat, see if anyone do it. Okay, I need to expand using the distributive rule this times both of these because I cannot add these together at the moment. So I have to just multiply without adding first. So 3x times 2, so twice 3x's, that's going to be 6x's. 3x then times, so this line I'm writing is like a multiplication line. I'm just showing you what I'm doing. So 3x times 3 ors. So 3x times 3 ors. That's going to be, well, 3 times 3 is 9 anyway. X times or, well, a letter times a letter. Well, if I don't know what they are, I just shove them together, or x. And in alphabetical order is usually a good idea. And that's positive and that's positive, so this has to be positive. Okay, so multiplying in algebra, if they're letters, you can just shove them together because or x is just x times or. And once we find out what numbers they are, we'll multiply it eventually, if we can. All right, so that's that done. Now we need to do this negative or times x minus 2. Now notice the way I've said negative or, so that's negative or that has to multiply by both these, not positive or, negative or. So negative or times x, well, or and x is just or x again, and I have a negative times a positive, so that's a negative. So remember, this is a blue level question, it's tricky. Negative or then times is my final multiplication, negative or times negative 2. Negative or times negative 2. And negative times a negative, I can put that sign in first. It's a positive, so hopefully we all know that. And negative times a negative. And or times 2 is 2 or. Okay, so that's all my expanding done. That's expanded. Awesome. Oops, that's off screen slightly. That's expanded. Great. But it's not simplified yet, so I've done the expanding part. Now I need to do the simplifying. So simplifying is adding any like terms together. Now 6x, I need to see if it has a buddy to add to it. No, it doesn't. Or x, and or, they're not x's, so that's just 6x in my answer. What about 9 or x's? Does this have a buddy? Yeah, there's an or x here, yeah. Good work, Charlie and Lewis. Yeah, 9 or x's, take away an or x, leaves me with 9 or x's, take away or x, leaves me with 8 or x's. Yes, so if there's no number in front of there, it's just one of them. So you don't need to put a number in front, it's just one. Yes, 6. And then plus the 2 or, because it's no buddy either. There's no just ors, yeah. And that is it simplified. That is the answer. Okay, so that's a blue level question. So if you understood that, awesome. All right. So what we're going to do is, the worksheet's already on Manage Back, but I'm not going to let you go this quickly. It's going to be a bit of an exit pass today to get out of here. I'll be checking the My Maths later on. So if you have My Maths questions or haven't got your My Maths done and you have logged in, make sure you have it completed before lunchtime, because that's when I'll be checking the My Maths. And those people who are new and don't have a login yet, I'm going to sort you out today. Okay, so an exit pass is I'm going to write a question on this sheet. That My Maths from last week. Yeah, there's no new stuff yet. No, just last week. So I'll have a little look now while you're on the line and see is anyone year 7A. Let's see if I can. Oh, some of you. Okay. The worksheet is about this, Lewis. All right. I'll check the My Maths later. It's not loading for me now. I don't want to waste your time. Okay. All right. So don't start the worksheet yet because you have to be dismissed by me. So if you are the first person to get the question I write on this sheet correct and type it in the chat, you can then leave. Isn't that awesome? And then start in your worksheet. The worksheet is going to be due for the first class next week. So not tomorrow. It's a bit soon. Okay. So here is the first question. I'll just write it off screen. All right. So that is the first question. Hopefully it focuses. (2x plus 3 plus 3x minus 2. So I want you to expand and simplify that and type your final answer into the chat. I have to accept your first answer. So everybody should be having a go at this. So the first answer is in from you, but I'm going to give other people just a little bit of time. Is that your final answer, Osborne? So I have to accept your first answer. Anybody else? You sure you've simplified that, Ethan? No one has said the right answer yet. 6x equals 6. There's no equal sign. How can it be equal sign? Still no one has the right answer. Still no one has the right answer. Yeah. So this would be like a easy blue level or hard yellow level question. All right, looks like I'm going to have to do it. So distribute first. 2 times x. You can still type in the answer if you want. 2 times x is 2x. So the 2 has to be multiplied by both these things. 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, that's that bracket done. Plus 3 times x is plus 3x's. And plus 3 times minus 2 is plus 3 times minus 2. Well, that's 3 times 2 is 6, and a plus times a minus is a minus. All right, so that's it expanded. Now I need to simplify it. So 2x plus 3x is 5x's. So they're x's put together. The numbers 6 take away 6 is the grand total, of course, 0. So my answer, I could put a 0 there if I want. My answer is just 5x. But Priyanka, I'm sorry, I think that was your second answer. So you're not out yet. Okay, let's do a slightly easier one. So remember, I have to accept your first answer first. Yes, Priyanka, I see. All right, so let's distribute the 2. 2 multiplied by x is 2x's. 2 multiplied by the 4 is 8. And the plus 6 is outside the bracket, so unaffected by this 2. Now I can add any like terms. Now 2x has no buddy. There's no more x's, so he's just there. And 8 plus 6 is 14. And that is our answer. We have finally some people who are out the door. Yoop, goodbye. Go work on the worksheet. Remember, it's due next week. Okay, I have a little bit of a tricky one here. Less numbers, more letters. So you only have to expand this. No simplifying, I don't think, required. A lot of answers coming in. Well, let's do this one. So a times b. Well, that's just a and b shoved together, isn't it? Okay, ab. What about a times 2a? Well, that's going to be, well, if I wanted to write that, that'd be 2aa, wouldn't it? Because multiplying, you shove the letters together. It's not adding a and 2a, that'd be 3a. This is multiplying, a times 2a. So you could write it 2aa, a times a. But aa, we don't write it aa in algebra, do we? We write it a squared. Small 2. A squared. A times a is a squared. Oh, no one got it. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you didn't have the squared button on your chat. All right. Let's do another one. An easier one this time, I think. A green level question coming up. Okay. So we've 7 bracket 2x minus 3. Why is everybody just giving the same answers Priyanka gave? Because she's not right. Remember that 7 affects both terms. Remember, I have to accept your first answer. So unfortunately, Priyanka, Charlie, Lewis, Ezra, you're all out. Okay, so 7 times 2x, 14 x's. 7 times 3, 21. What's the sign between them? Minus. Who was the first person to get that? 20 or 14x minus 21, who hadn't given the wrong answer already? Lewis E. Lewis E, you are out of here. Goodbye. Okay, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I need to get some more people out of here. Okay, so here's the next one. 4 times x minus 2 minus then 5. So some people haven't answered yet. I haven't noticed that. So multiply first, expand the brackets first, and then add or subtract any like terms. Still no correct answers in the chat. So Charlie, Priyanka, Osborne, Lewis, and Nisi are all out. You've probably multiplied correctly, but I don't think you've added and subtracted the like terms correctly. And we finally have the first correct full answer in. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times negative 2, negative 8. And then just take away 5. Now 4x is nobody, so it's 4x. Negative 8, take away another 5. So if you want to draw a number line, we've got a line up here, so I might as well use it as a number line. Oh, terribly drawn, but anyway. Let's say we're here on, this is negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9, negative 10, negative 11, oops, negative 12, negative 13, negative 14, etc. So if you start on negative 8 here on your number line, and you want to take away 5. So you're starting here, and you want to take away 5 from it. So remember, you have to take the whole number into account. So negative 8 here, and you take away 5, you're going backwards 5 to negative 13. So Ethan, you're the first to get that, I see. Ethan, goodbye. Okay, another one. So expand it first, multiply each term, then add or subtract if there's anything like terms. This is probably a blue level question. So 2 times A is 2A. 2 times B is 2B. Still time to write in the answer. You can write them in at any stage here. You can watch me expand it first. Minus 2 times 2A is minus, because minus times a positive here. 2 times 2 is 4, and then it's just an A, so 4A. Minus 2 times plus 2 is minus 4, and there's a B, minus. Okay, so now I need to add and subtract some like terms. So still don't have the right answer, I don't think there. Anybody has got the right answer yet? Remember, this is a blue level, so a tricky question. 2 A's take away 4 A's. 2 A's take away 4 A's. So I have to go into negatives of A's. So 2 of them take away 4. I have to go into negative 2 A's. 2b, take away 4b. So once again, I have to go into the negative b's, minus 2b. Let's see, did anyone get it before I just said the answer? Okay. I'm going to accept Osborne and Lauren's answer. Lauren, technically the more correct one. Osborne has a plus here, but a plus minus is a minus. So 2 of you can go. Okay, we're going to go for a green level question. So just an expansion. Prank is never going to learn to multiply both terms in the bracket. That's the whole distributive rule. That's all we're doing today. You have to multiply everything, not just the first term. 3 times x, 3 x's. 3 times 2, 6. I'm going to release the first 2 people who get it right this time. Let's see who the first 2 people were. Charlie, you're gone. And Anissa, you're gone.
Good riddance, everybody.
Okay, another green level question. I'm going to release the first 3 people to get it right this time. 2 times y plus 8. So I'm releasing the first 3 people to get it right, but I have to accept your first answer first. 2 times y is 2 y's. 2 times 8 is 16. So, here's the first 3. Priyanka, goodbye. Louis, goodbye. And Charlize, goodbye. All right. I'm not going to keep the rest of you guys. You're now free to go. Hopefully you can pick your color now. Maybe have a look at the worksheet before you start it. Maybe if you're still here, don't give blue a go just yet. Try either green or yellow. If you are new and haven't got your MyMaths password, just stay on the line for a minute. So let's see who's here. Olivia, Louis, and Lara, can you just hang on? And the rest of you guys can go and start the work for today.
But I don't know what the worksheet is. Where?
Okay, and that's why you're here. Okay, 1 second. Is that Lara? Yes. Have you go to your, if you're all here, go to your Manage Back. If you're on Manage Back, go to Manage Back and go to your calendar and go to the maths lesson that you just were in. So the calendar in your maths lesson, it should be the first lesson today at 8:15. Just go to that event, the green thing, click on it, open it up fully, or you should see there's an attachment there called Year 7 Distributive Rule and Expanding PDF. You should see that attachment. Okay, so that is the